day, everyone. This is Pilot Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody. How's it going?
Hello there, Drac. And also, let's welcome our special guest for tonight, Patrick from DDO Cast.
Hello.
Hello there, Patrick. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks.
Right. And I guess you're here to talk about DDO because we actually have news tonight.
I mean, we could talk about politics, but do we really want to?
No, we do not.
No.
Let's just stick to DDO then.
Yeah. Let's talk to DDO then. And then we have a little gift relating to Wayfinder because of the little troubles that they had.
Yeah, we talked about this a while back that this was coming. It is finally live now on the world. So once you log into a character that you have on Wayfinder, if that character was created prior to 5 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday, July 15th, you will find some gifts in your inventory. Those are going to include 1 heroic XP stone that will grant you 2 million experience when you consume that, and that is bound to character. You're also going to get 1 improved epic XP stone, 4 million experience when you consume that. Once again, that is bound to character, and 50 greater elixirs of discovery, and those are bound to account. Once again, to get these gifts, you must have had that character that you're logging in created prior to 5 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday, July 15th.
And I can confirm that when they say created, that's all that is necessary, because I actually checked out a level 1 character that I had on there, and yes, that level 1 character did have this big pile of stuff in their inventory.
Nice. Yeah, I actually haven't logged in any of my characters on Wayfinder yet. I need to do that.
So, Patrick, did you have anything on Wayfinder?
I've been rolling dice over there for a while, and I don't throw things away, so yes.
So I will take that as a yes. Well, it sounds
Let's
like
just say that I could consolidate the potions on Wayfinder and transfer a character over and pay pennies on the thousands of dollars for potions.
Oh, wow.
I would have thought that those potions would have been bound to character.
So I think the reason why they're not is primarily because they don't have a bound to character version of those.
Oh,
They do have bound to character versions of the XP stones, but rather than create a new item, I think they just went with bound to account because who cares?
Yeah, I mean, It's just a greater elixir of discovery. So, I mean, it's not like it's that exciting. I mean, it's for free, sure. I don't actually buy those, but I mean, for free, I'd take them. Not that I'm complaining about what we got, because I think they went above and beyond what they needed to do for the problems that we had. But yeah.
Well, I think that was just to increase chances that you could find the rare loot that you
Yeah, well, that doesn't work for
found
me. So.
just
It's for named loot, yeah.
Yeah, for the named loot or something like that.
Anecdotal results tend to be fairly mixed.
Well, anecdotal results are always mixed. And besides, if you've got Drac in your party, that decreases the chance.
Yeah, exactly. You ain't getting shit if I'm in your party.
Well, sometimes with me, though, if it's something that's bound to the character that picks it up, it's guaranteed to pop up for me, but not for Drac.
That has happened too. That has happened several times with a couple different people too. It's like, oh, that would be good for me. Oh, it's bound to your... Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Stupid RNG.
Yeah. So we finally have that done, and that's behind us. So let's have a look at the future.
We will. Lamania's up right now as we speak, as we're recording this on Wednesday evening. There is a Lamania build that is up. It is update 47, and this is preview 2. This is scheduled to run through Friday, August 28th. So you'll have a little bit of time when this episode releases, if you're not listening live, to actually check out this Lamania build if you would like. The preview does contain the new race, the Shifter, the new iconic race, the Razer Claw Shifter. There's a new universal enhancement tree called the Fey Dark Illusionist. The new standalone dungeon, the name of that one is the Promise of Flame. And of course, we have new named loot. In addition to that, there is several other various fixes and other things they are doing. The Warlocked Focus Blast range is now increased by 20%. The Warlock's Mage Armor Pack spell now appears at the correct spell level. And the Warlock's Celestial Pack's description will now properly state that it requires a non-chaotic character rather than you must be good. There are several other things. Was there anything in here major that you think we should talk about, Patrick? Because there's a lot of stuff in here.
Well, the stuff that's in blue is the new stuff. So you can kind of, if you want to skip the stuff that's already been in there. There's a few, yeah. I don't know, you just want me to pick some out?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just kind of looking. I'm going to kind of like pick some stuff too as I see it here. I'm just kind of scrolling through. But yeah, if you have anything that you think is...
So they're removing an old implementation of Simple Thrown Expertise, which was causing players with the feat to throw extra unintended projectiles. And it sounds like the exact amount of that's going to differ because it's based on your dexterity or intelligence, depending on which version you had. So that's going to be... I mean, throwers are kind of hot right now because they do fairly good damage, and this is going to bring them back down to where SSG intends them to be. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near at least the one post that I saw that said that the throwers are going to be completely useless and nerfed into the ground. Doom kind of feel. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that. I think they'll still be pretty strong, but go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I did notice the thing that jumped out at me right away is mounts found in the daily dice, if you're lucky enough to get one of them, which I have not yet. They are now bound to account and not your character anymore, so that's good.
I'm sure that makes Drac very happy, considering the number of times in Lotro where the wrong character has gotten something he wanted.
True.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty popular one. There's also one that filigrees should now respect intended stacking rules within the shared bank crafting storage, which currently they only stack, or they don't stack at all in the crafting storage. They'll stack in your bags all day long. But I think that'll make a lot of people happy because filigrees can really fill up your crafting storage pretty quick. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, I have quite a few in my crafting storage as well. So yeah, that was exciting to see. The Dispel Magic effects will now reduce the CR of spell words by a much greater amount. Dispel Magic will do 4 to 12 CRs. Greater Dispel will do 10 to 30 CR. And Mordecannon's Disjunction, 50 CRs. So that's kind of cool too, I guess. Just looking and see if there's anything else. That's really all that jumped out at me. There's just like some various fixes.
A lot of fixie stuff.
Yeah, like they fixed an issue with the portal and Keep on the Borderland not operating if more than one player was using it. So that's a nice little just quality of life thing.
Okay.
I mean, that's
right.
that's kind of nice. Yeah, a couple quest issues. Looks like they fixed.
I do like that the hardcore death notices have returned to being an alert as opposed to DM text. So that's nice. They also are making it so logging in will refresh your place on the leaderboard. Which means you won't have to, because they did the work on hardcore server, and after that, it pseudoly wiped the leaderboard. Basically, you have to ping the system in order to get back on the leaderboard. Like the information is still there, you just have to ping the system to get on the leaderboard. So there was a bunch of kind of suggestions about how to do that safely. There's a couple of quests that you can do that are really low level that you can do at any level, like the one in the Delaris chain that's in between 3 and 4, the entry level to Vaughn 3, for example. The Dragon Mark quest was one that came up, I think. But you just have to kind of ping the system. This will make it so you just have to log in to ping the system and get back on the leaderboard. So I don't think it was a huge issue, but it'll help, I think.
From what I read, that was basically an issue for people that were quote unquote done playing on hardcore. Right. They got where they were at. They were on the leaderboard where they wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And then now they have to log back in and, like you said, run a small quest or whatever to, ping the system to get them back. So, yeah, that'll be nice. All they have to do is log in and they should be fixed.
I mean, that's also, we should mention, is only true if this update goes live before September 22nd.
That's true, too. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, that is true.
Otherwise, it's not going to be very helpful. But, that might give us an idea of their timetable, too.
Yes, so. I have a feeling that they're planning to have this out before September 22nd.
Well, the bottom of the release notes, it does say that update 47 is expected. So this version this preview does not contain the 3 legendary raids, which were seen in preview 1. There is expected to be a third preview of update 47 in the near future, which will contain all of those all of the above features as well as those 3 raids. I think they're doing that because they want people to focus on the shifter and the enhancement tree and stuff, and not on the raids. But so they're looking at a third preview that'll probably be either next week or the week after, and then I think again you have a 1 to 2 week window before it goes live. I mean, we could be looking at a month out still.
Well,
it's hard to say, and I should also mention that most of my predictions along this train of thought have been completely wrong in the last couple of months. So,
we will have to see. It probably all depends on how their schedule operates.
And then speaking of that schedule, there was a question that was posed in the forums. Since this preview has the new shifter race, the Razer Claw shifter iconic, and the Fadark Illusionist Universal Enhancement Tree, player asks, has this been brought forward into Update 47, or are we just getting a preview of Update 48 as well? And Coco Mojobo stated, the summer schedule got disrupted a bit by the hardware work at the data center. At this point, it is likely, though not certain, that these features will end up going live in the same update as the features we had previously been thinking of as Update 47, which is the 1 new dungeon and the 3 legendary raids. I think it's pretty obvious that the race, iconic, and universal tree are planned to be attached to the Feywild expansion. The dungeons and the landscape and such are not part of Update 47. In a similar way to the ASMR Tiefling Scourge, Scoundrel, Vistani, Inquisitive were with the previous 2 expansions. But 2020 is a strange year, so those specific features may end up launching the same day as Update 47 proper, are close enough that previewing them at the same time made the most sense.
Well, in any case, even when they did have them tied to the expansions, they would have to have been released in that. Oh, actually, they might have been done in a point update before. That was after in a point update.
I think that's generally been what's happened.
Yeah, I guess say that seems to be what has happened previous to when they had stuff like this. They just did like a point update and brought those in. But this time it may come with 47. We don't know yet. I guess that's still kind of up in the air, but yeah, we'll see.
But that means that we'd be hearing about pre-orders around the same time 47 comes out.
I would think
like
so.
What we're thinking of, at least.
Yeah, I would.
Well, these things, those 3 things, right? The race, the iconic, and the universal enhancement tree have dropped with the pre-order, not with the expansion. So if you pre-order, you get access to those right away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to guess that's what they're planning. What? Because they haven't announced anything on pre-orders yet, right?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I'd really be out of touch if they've done that.
Yeah, no, they're not.
I think they had intended for Update 47 to be here already.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure of that.
I'm not even sure if it was the maintenance stuff that derailed it as much as it was the server instability.
I'm sure it was a combination of
I think it might have been a combination of both. That kind of like, well, that plan's out the window.
I kind of understood it as being the server instability derailed the maintenance, which derailed the schedule.
Yes.
It was just kind of a domino effect.
It was a big, giant derailing.
It doesn't help that there's also a pandemic that's derailing just about everything.
Well, yeah.
Little thing.
Well, it's not derailing my playtime. So there's that.
Well, that's the bright spot of all this. I mean, people have more time to play, so that's good, right?
Gotta focus on the little things to stay sane.
Except for Draculetta, probably.
Well, yeah, except for me, but that's because my life sucks. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about me.
You live in Barovia. You're asking for it, man.
Well, true.
Yes, there is that.
There is that little small minor detail, but you have peasants, you have uprisings, and it's plagues. It's it's just another day here. That's all.
Yeah, because look at what happens that passes for a tea party in Barovia.
I mean, you really should just consider moving to Stormreach. I mean, granted, there's invasions and immigration problems every couple of years, but
True.
I'm sorry, we said we're going to talk about politics.
I just kind of figure out how to get past this mist thing, and then maybe I'll make Stormreach my home. But I'm working on the whole mist problem.
the whole mist problem.
So elsewhere in Update 47, we are getting some looks at the new iconic race, which is the Razer Claw Shifter. This is an Eberron iconic. Starting in Sharn. That is going to represent a third subrace of the Shifter. This one is going to be focused on attacking things with their claws. They get a unique set of attack animations if they are using hand wraps, and this animation is set timed similar to the monk's hand wrap animation. You start with one level of Barbarian, +2 Strength, +2 -2 Intelligence. Sorry. The auto-granted feat Dismiss Rage, auto-granted feat Exotic Weapon Proficiency of Hand Wraps. Both of those make sense. Also, you get the auto-granted feat of the Razer Claw Shifter. It's a passive +1 to Strength. Active, when you activate it, the Shifter ability shifts your form, and this grants you a +4 Rage bonus to Strength and Dexterity, a +2 Morale bonus to your Fortitude saves, and a -2 penalty to your Wisdom. When that form ends, however, you will become fatigued. Your form will last for at least 30 seconds, plus an additional amount of time based on your strength. You can prematurely end your form if you would wish by using the aforementioned Dismiss Rage feat. This does share the same charge with Barbarian's Rage feat, and anything that will grant bonuses while raging is also going to grant bonuses with this, so you can keep that in mind as you're building stuff and you're getting items and everything if you're trying to build this out effectively. Shifting your form in this way does prevent spell casting.
It's essentially an alternative rage. The big difference here being that you get a bonus to strength and dexterity and a penalty to it's dexterity instead of constitution, and you get a penalty to wisdom.
Yeah, I prefer the other one. I'm sure Drack's not surprised with that.
No,
strength
not at
and con.
No, the one that helps wisdom instead.
Oh, that's the base race though, not the iconic.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you know which one I'm going with. The base race.
Of course you are. But yeah, so, I mean, sounds like kind of a cool little iconic, I guess. I mean, I'll probably check one out just to see.
So it's a rage tied to race instead of a class, which is kind of nice. So you can get some interesting computations and multi-class kind of things going on. It should work well with Barbarian and Druid, obviously, since they already have rage effects, and these will kind of stack. Or at least the additional grant stuff will kind of all work together, no matter which one you're using.
Let's see. Just kind of looking to see if there's anything else we want to talk about this. It's kind of early on too, and like I said, a lot of this stuff might change because this is Lamania, so keep that in mind.
There is a bunch of stuff in this tree that's rage related. Probably the most interesting one is the fifth core allows you to regenerate rages every 90 seconds. So if your rage lasts 90 seconds, or at least 90 seconds, in theory, you don't need to take anything that gives you extra rages or more length of time, right? You just regen them along that timeline. So,
well, the question is, when does the regeneration happen? After the expiration or after you start it?
well, if you just regenerate a rage every 90 seconds, it probably doesn't care if you're raging or not.
Okay.
It just regenerates it every 90 seconds.
All right. I just wonder because
it's not hard to get rage to last longer than 90 seconds. So,
all right. That's why I wondered whether or not, because I know that there are some effects that have cooldowns where the cooldown doesn't start until the ending of the effect.
no, this is you just regenerate one rage every 90 seconds. So
Okay.
the way it reads, it should work just like bard songs or smites and stuff like that, or turn undeads, right? Like they just start recharging. If you have a maximum number that you can have, but otherwise it'll just regen up to that.
All right. I guess I've never gotten a character to a level where they regenerated such things.
Well, this is the first time you've been able to regenerate a rage, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean any of those, because you're telling me that sound like that there are other classes have some things that regenerate also, and I've never had a
clerics can regenerate turn undeads. It's in one of the trees.
Yeah, obviously I never got that far.
Bards can regenerate songs through items, anthem items.
Oh, okay.
And as Pineleaf alluded to, we do have a new basic race. It's called the Shifter, and they are a Eberron race with notable I can never say that word until
lycanthropic.
Thank you. I can say it until I try to say it, and then I can't. I have a mental block about it. The ancestor. Okay, forget it. I'm done. They cannot transform entirely into animals, though, but they shift parts of their bodies to be animal-like for short periods of time. In DDO, the shifting has similarities and a statistical connection to raging. What are shifters meant to be good at? Depending on your sub-race selection, they could excel at defense/tanking or a whiz-based casting. Hence why I think Pineleaf's excited about this.
Put a pin in that wisdom-based casting, though. We're going to come back to that.
Okay. Duly noted. Stats are +2 dexterity, -2 intelligence. You get the Dismiss Rage feat auto-granted to you. At first level, you get a racial feat, and that is your subrace selector. Just like the ASMR, shifters select their subrace at level 1. This grants them some specific bonuses and informs which selections they can make in their tree. There is the Beast Hide Shifter. Passive is a +1 con. Active, activate the shifter ability to shift your form, granting you +4 rage bonus to your armor class and constitution. And
it sounds pretty familiar.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, yep. It's about the same.
The bonuses are different, is really what it is.
Yeah, +2 morale bonus to fortitude save, -2 to wisdom. When that form ends, you will lose the hit points, same as the iconic, and you become fatigued. Your form will last for 30 seconds, same as the other. Based on your constitution, you can prematurely end up by using the same feat. And then there is the Wild Hunt Shifter, +1 to your wisdom. Activate this shifter ability. You shift your form, granting you +4 rage bonus. This, once again, sounds about the same. That's to wisdom and dexterity. +2 morale bonus to your will saves, and a -2 to your strength. When that ends, you are fatigued. It lasts 30 seconds plus additional amount of time based on your wisdom, and you can end it using the Dismiss Rage feat. Once again, these share the Barbarian's Rage feat, and anything that grants you raging bonuses will work with that as well. And shifting your form prevents spell casting.
Okay, so that +4 wisdom doesn't do you too much good in spell casting, considering...
Right?
Right, therein lies the rub.
That's why I said to put a pin in it. Yeah, it's a little funny that they have a wisdom-based casting for here's a rage that makes it so you can't spellcast. Now, in fairness, there is where is it? Tier 3, I think. There is one an enhancement in their tree at tier 3 that you can cast while raging if you are this if you're the Wild Hunt shifter, but you do have to get to the third tier in the tree.
Yeah, so you got to dig deep in that tree to get that, but
A little bit.
Well,
it could be interesting though. I mean, I could see some interesting caster builds with this if you build it right and go far enough into the trees.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if you're really going to see this be super popular. Just because, I mean, I feel like if you're going to do wisdom-based casting, you're probably going to be doing some other things anyways. I mean, maybe, because you can take the wisdom and the cores, and the +4 is kind of nice, but I mean, you could also take ASMR, which gives you +2 wisdom to start with your stat and some other stuff, and it's a little bit more casty aligned.
hey, I excel at doing suboptimal builds.
There is some nice stuff in here. I mean, if you take the tanky version, there's a +5 quality hit points, 5% quality hit points in there, which is kind of nice. It also has like +20% threat generation, which seems overly weak considering that not that long ago we had a pass to threat generation that like tripled everything because it wasn't enough. So only +20 doesn't seem like it's enough to be very effective. But the 5% hit points is nice.
And we do have a new universal enhancement tree, which I'm sure Pine Leap is probably excited about. I could see him playing this for several reasons. You can probably figure it out if you're a fan of this podcast. It is the Feydark Illusionist. This tree is a universal casting tree that will enhance your spell casting and allow you to create illusions to befuddle your enemies and summon a familiar to be by your side. This familiar cannot bite or die, and it will not be targeted by monsters, much like a falconry bird. Feydark Illusionist does require the feat Magical Training in order to access it.
All right. Sounds like something for me to look into when it comes up. Probably will check that out because I am noticing, you know how I'm playing all of the races and classes for Keep of the Borderlands? My goal for this year? Yes. I'm currently scheduled to do the shifter when it comes out as a ranger. So I could maybe try having that with that little illusion tree on the side. When do rangers pick up spell casting?
Level 4.
Level 4. All right, so I have to wait a little. Yeah, so I have to wait a few levels. So obviously, it'll be past Keep of the Borderlands when I'm able to test that out.
I mean, speaking of suboptimal build types, rangers don't really have a lot going for them in the DC casting vein.
True. You got to remember is that I chose the combos that I'm doing before there was anything known about the shifter, because I chose, I think at the maybe near the beginning of the year, what race is doing which one. So I figured that the Feywild, since they're coming with the Feywild expansion, then the shifter has some sort of connection with nature. So that's why I chose the ranger for the shifter.
I wondered how you chose all that. I wasn't sure how you I didn't know if you were just randomly picking or if you put some thought into it or what you did.
I did put some thought into it.
Okay.
I'm sure those who are for supercharged optimization will tell me what thought they would have put into it, but that's another matter.
We have well established a long time ago that if you were into that, the other podcast that the host happens to be on this podcast here is more for you then. DDO Cast is your friend for that type of gameplay. That's where we
I'd like to think that we're friends for everybody who's playing DDO.
Well, I mean, yes, but just saying, there's a little difference between our two podcasts, and I think that's the major one. But yes, we're both DDO friendly, though.
We also bring in a little tabletop news.
Well, that's true. We're kind of a weird podcast, but it's okay. It works somehow. It works. Then, of course, we have new loot because you have to have new loot.
Before you get off of the
sure. Oh, do you have something else?
The new Universal Enhancement tree. Well, I think it's worth noting a couple things that in here. I don't know that anyone's gonna go jumping up and down like this tree is gonna change the world like Inquisitive did.
Mm-hmm.
But It does have charisma to hit and damage in it, which means that we now have a universal tree that will give you that has intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, depending on which tree you're in. So that'll kind of flesh out some more abilities to do different kind of builds and stuff. There's also, I think it's worth noting that one of the tier 2 enhancements gives protection from magic missiles, so that'll make that available to everyone. There's a couple of classes that have that, but this will open that up to anyone who wants it. And I think that might be something that some people in hardcore might really like. Protection from magic missiles early on can be really helpful.
Very much so.
There's also an ability in here that you can make shadow blades, and you can change your weapons into shadow blades, which changes them to force, which, among other things, makes them immune to being damaged by rust monsters and oozes.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that. Yeah.
So there's some opportunities here. I don't think it's gonna change the game in the way that Inquisitive did and put a bunch of things kind of at the be at the top of the food chain and the metagaming, as it were.
Right.
But there's a couple things in here that
maybe I can use this with my Dragonborn sorcerer.
That would be a good fit. Yeah. There's also Paladin is one that kind of jumps out pretty easily, just because Paladin is kind of typically a bit of a stat hog, and that if you don't do anything clever with it, you kind of want to have strength, constitution, a little bit of wisdom, and charisma, right? This would let you really dump into charisma and kind of not need to worry about strength if you wanted to.
And I guess I should have said this earlier when we were talking about this. You do get a choice of your familiars, either a fox, illusionary sprite, a pseudo dragon, a white cat, or a white tressum are the familiars that you'll be able to choose from.
Tressum?
Well, the flying cat.
Yeah, it's the cat with the wings.
Okay. I guess I haven't run into many of those.
They're around Evening Star, I think.
Yeah,
I think there's a couple.
Yeah, I gotta say, there's when you first get into Evening Star, there's one on the one roof, but you don't ever do Evening Star that much, so you probably wouldn't know that.
Okay.
Next time we're in Evening Star, I'll point it out for you. Anything else about that, or can we talk about the loot real quick?
I guess you could mention that there's a free and large spells in there, but that's tier 5, so I don't know that that's anything to write home about.
I really go deep.
I did notice that the tier 5 had some stuff, but it's like, wow, that's tier 5 though. Like you said, you really gotta want it at that point. You have to be all in for that. But it'll be interesting. I mean, I might create something just to play with this and see about it. I'm not really big into spellcasting though, but I don't know.
It's been pointed out a little bit that that this might work better if we had, say, a robust illusion spell catalog.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of shocked that this was the enhancement tree. I'm like, why an illusion? But I mean, I guess they're trying to tie it into Fate Arc, so that point makes sense because they're trying to do the whole Feywild thing. Okay. But it's just kind of weird. But
it looks like you get what looks like it's a blade barrier SLA in tier 5 too. I don't know. We'll see what people. There's people out there that can come with a lot more clever things than I generally do. But
that is true. There are some amazing DDO players that can come up with some really good builds based around this stuff. So
I think the charisma to hit will be popular, and the shield or the block magic missiles might be a little popular too, depending. So I think that'll probably would get more mileage on hardcore than live, but we'll see.
And then, as I said, we do have some new loot,
which you'll never see.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't really get too excited about much of this, really, to be honest. The dagger, of course, I'm excited about for my dagger user because, dagger. That one's called the Dagger of the Deep Ones. It's a min-level 6/27. It's a 1d4 or 5 1d4, depending on which version of it that you have. 19 to 20 crit times 2. Plus 3 or plus 15 enhancement bonus. You get Title, which is 2d6, 66. Corrosive Salt. This weapon stores a caustic, insatiable power deep within. When this weapon is used, this power can come to the surface in the form of a noxious corrosive salt that dissolves all substances. So that's kind of cool. Bleeding 2d8 or 68, maiming 2/6, and it's got a purple augment slot. So that was kind of interesting, I thought, for a dagger. Like I said, I like daggers for my knife fighter. So there you have it. Do you want to talk about?
I think there's a few things in here that it's a little bit more interesting than the original pass was. I don't know if they fixed it yet, but I think there was some typos involved. There's a few places where it says that it's going to increase your MRR or spell power by. There's one that's one of the sets is 20 plus 25% bonus to MRR. I think that's supposed to be plus 25, not plus 25%.
Yeah, 25% would be awesome, but
yeah, I mean, it would make it mandatory for anybody,
right?
And there was also one that's plus 50% to spell power, and I think that's supposed to be plus 50, because you can get spell power without working too hard into the 6 to 800s, and if you put a little bit of effort into it, you can get over 1,000. So I think just giving people 50% spell powers is probably not what they're going for.
Probably not. Probably not as intended.
Yeah, just kind of a guess there. The Spear of the Mournlands, the piercing quarterstaff, looks kind of fun. I bet that has a pretty good cut. That's, I think, supposed to be the Lord of Blades weapon, so that's kind of nice.
Piercing quarterstaff, that just sounds so weird.
Yeah, well, they won't give us spears, but we can have piercing quarterstaffs. I mean, there's only one of the. I think there's only one other piercing quarterstaff in the game. So
suspension of disbelief.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We have a name for a piercing quarterstaff, a spear.
Right. It's as close as to a spear you're gonna get, buddy. Sorry.
Oh, I want spears.
And there's a bunch of set bonuses, but they're 2-piece set bonuses, which should make them a little easier for the average player to get, and they don't involve any armors, so that's kind of nice for a change. The bonuses are all kind of they're not going to stack with other set bonuses because they're all artifacts. But there's some interesting things. There's a hand wrap that has a set bonus that gives you you get protected by a swarm of hostile bees, so that they will also go out and strike your enemies, doing a dot. If you run Hound of Zorat, you've probably run into bees. I think there's a druid spell with the swarm spell that's kind of similar, I think. But that's kind of interesting. I don't know if it's gonna catch on or anything, but it's kind of interesting. I think the big standouts are probably the trinkets. There's some raid trinkets that are pretty nice. They're all artifacts.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Heart of Sulamati's plus 5 quality constitution, plus 18 resistance. That's plus 18 to all your saves. Immune to curses, poisons, and fear, and 31% chaos absorption. And it's part of a set. I mean, yes, please.
Yeah.
No brainer.
No, we just have to see if they have the Hand of Vec, right?
Yeah. Don't think we're ever going to get that. Yeah.
Okay.
The Eye or the Hand of Back. Now, don't think we're ever going to get that in DDO. That'd be awesome, though. But
I mean,
next
question would be: Would you want it to because then wouldn't that item kind of almost says that if you're going to give it to us in DDO, it's once you put this into this slot, you will never be able to take it off again
exactly.
unless you reincarnate.
Exactly.
Right. You can have this set of gloves, but you'll have to wear it forever and ever and ever until you reincarnate.
They're yours forever.
Not just bound to character, bound to slot.
Right, exactly.
That
Never going to see that slot again. So, yeah, that's update 47.
oh yeah. In Minecraft, they call that a curse of binding.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because in something that you put it on and you're stuck with it until you die.
I think before you move on with the loot,
Sure.
I think there's going to be a lot of propensity for players to kind of look at this and not be very excited. And I think it's just kind of unfortunate, but it's pretty typical. Like, this is clearly kind of a sidestep update, right? Like, they're not trying to increase the power level much, if at all. Maybe a little baby step. But I think there's some, like, if you look here, I think there's some stuff that you could go for. Like I said, the artifacts are pretty nice. I'm not super hot on any of the alchemical weaponry or anything like that, but if you're kind of coming into the game and or maybe you're about to do a reincarnation and you don't really have a good set of weapons for that whatever you're going to reincarnate into, like, there's some options here that can get you some stuff. Most of the stuff is probably going to be obsolete in 3 months when they release Feywild anyways, which is really unfortunate because the same thing happened to Heroic Lord of Blades or an Epic Lord of Blades. Like, it was really hot for a little bit, and then we got Menace the Underdark, and like, no one uses any of the stuff out of there anymore.
Anything else relating to update 47?
I don't think so, but just as we said, just remember the Lamania will be up till Friday. So you have a couple days if you're listening live. When this podcast releases, you're probably not going to have much time. So you might have to wait till the third one.
There's a dev event Thursday from 8 to 10 Eastern time. So if Drac isn't lazy and he gets this out and published, you might have time to go catch that.
Which I'm planning on. I just thought I should probably get this out sooner than later. So yes, so hopefully I won't be lazy and we'll get this out tomorrow, and then you'll have time to go to the dev event Thursday evening, which, if you're listening to this the day it comes out, will be this evening. Time travel is weird.
Yeah. It's a dev event. That's when all sorts of insanity is let loose.
They're just going to be available for feedback.
Oh,
usually
okay.
there's like a join channel devs or something like that.
All right. I for a moment there, I thought it was going to be one of those events where the devs are doing things like
releasing dragons
and types of demons into the place or something like that.
I still think it'd be awesome if they did that on hardcore. like
Let's see how hardcore you are.
Drop a dragon into the market. Can you imagine hardcore back in the day when the devils were invading the market?
Right. Oh, I am so sad. I missed that whole double thing. That would have been odd because I watched videos of that. And
you
I'm like,
walk around the market,
awesome.
And all of a sudden there's a devil smacking you upside the head.
That's right.
I would think that if I were on the hardcore server and I heard a rumor of any events going on, I would just not log in.
You'd be like, nope, I'm out. That's enough.
As long as you avoid the marketplace, you'd have been fine, right? Like, and people did that. People stayed out of the market because of it.
Yes. Let's go and find out what's coming in from the dungeon. Where Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, a new book is coming from Wizards of the Coast. It's a cauldron of everything?
Everything. It has everything you can imagine in it.
Ooh.
Yes, this is a new source book that is going to give you plenty of options for your characters. There's going to be some new rules options, new subclasses, and some magical items as well. This does follow in the footsteps of Xanathar's Guide to Everything. So if you have that book, this is pretty much what it's going to be. It's going to incorporate more than a year of playtesting feedback from the D&D community. Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is going to introduce class features and subclasses, which will add flavor for options to the character classes players are already enjoying. And also, it's going to bring a new look at the Artificer class, which is a fan favorite.
Arties.
Yeah. Arties are, everybody, there's a lot of people in pen and paper that love to play an Artie, and they're going to add some new stuff to the Artificer, so we'll see how it goes. They're also going to add something new called a group patrons who can help mold the character story, and there is a customization option that will let you shape the your character's origin as well. Of course, we get new feats, new spells for both player characters and monsters, and of course, some new magic items. These new magic items are going to include, for the first time, magic tattoos and some mighty artifacts. Also, the book is going to contain a big section for dungeon masters, such as expanded environments. And the book is going to close out with a bunch of puzzles that will be perfect for any campaign, ensuring there's something to please every adventurer's appetite. This does come out November 17th. It's pre-orderable now at Amazon, or your friendly local game store. And just like most of the other books, there is going to be 2 covers, the standard version, and then the special limited edition cover that you can only get at your friendly local game store. There is going to be an event that is going to show off some of this book, and we're going to learn a little more about it. That is coming up September 18th to the 20th. It is called the D&D Celebration. That will be over on the D&D Twitch page. They are also going to be showing off some more of Icewind Dale Rime of the Frost Maiden, which is due out soon as well. And all of that is, of course, going to be benefiting Extra Life. So if you want to donate to the D&D Extra Life campaign, you can do so during this 2-day D&D celebration. The question that a lot of people were asking is, who the heck is Tasha and why is she getting a book?
But I don't know, but I guess they're irresistibly laughing at that question.
I see what you did there, Pine Leap. Yes, Tasha, if you are a long-time D&D player, you will know the name Tasha, or maybe one of her several other names, Natasha, she was also called as well. Igwilv is another name she goes by. She's probably one of the most famous characters to ever come out of the Greyhawk campaign setting. Her most famous claim to fame, as we'll say, is she did create the spell Tasha's Uncontrollable Hideous Laughter. And of course, she is the author of the 7-volume Demonomicon as well. She was a powerful witch that was adopted by Baba Yaga at a young age. And then she went on to become a adventurer and later a demigod.
So she was adopted by Baba Yaga.
Yes, her actual natural parents took her to Baba Yaga when she was young, and Baba Yaga raised her. And that's where she honed her magical craft.
That's must have been quite a thing, considering that Baba Yaga had a reputation for eating children, at least in Russian folklore. She does.
She doesn't in D&D, so
okay.
She's just kind of evil, but of course Tasha is evil as well too. Ilgwib, as I said, is another one of her names. She is said to have 2 forms. One is an old crone that is said to be her true form, but nobody actually really knows. And then the other, she is a human female with long dark hair, or long black hair and pale skin. It is said that none who have seen her in her true form still live. So there you go. Exciting stuff coming, as we said, November the 17th. That should be pretty interesting.
Yes. Now, of course, when you word something like that none who have seen her in her true form still live, it could simply be a matter that she hasn't been in her true form for the last 100 years.
See, that could be too.
Though it implies that there are other reasons for it, yes.
Right.
Yes. And Heroes Feast, the official Dungeons & Dragons cookbook?
Yeah, I was waiting to see how you were going to react to this. Yes, we have a D&D cookbook coming. And this is not a joke. This is a real, honest-to-God cookbook. This is from the same team that brought us the Dungeons & Dragons Art and Arcana, a visual history book that came out last year, 2 years ago, I think. Can't remember when that came out. Kyle Newman, John Peterson, and Michael Whitware, or as I call them, the Geek Dream Team. D&D Heroes Feast will have recipes for all cuisines all around many of the worlds of Dungeons & Dragons. There's going to be a total of 80 recipes. This book is going to feature snacks, appetizers, main dishes, desserts, and even cocktails.
If it doesn't have dirty kobolds, it's not worth buying.
I have a preview of it. I should have looked. I haven't looked at it yet. I actually don't have the actual book yet. I'm getting it. They're sending it, but I have a PDF preview. I will look to see if a dirty kobold is in there. There is one that's called the Mind Flayer that sounds extremely, extremely amazing.
Like it has, drink?
Yeah, it's a drink. Yes, it has ginger, sugar, lime juice, and vodka. And then you add black or red seedless grapes for the garnish as well. That sounds amazing. And then it turns a weird looking like purple color. That sounds amazing. And then over on the article on the website, I did put a couple of these up. I put the recipe for the Mind Flayer and one for Elven Bread. They are going to break it down via the race. So there's going to be Elven cuisine, Halfling cuisine, Dwarf cuisine. So if you have a favorite race you like to play, you can look, and they have stuff tailored around it. All these recipes were made by chefs, actually. So
Go
ahead.
I am just imagining someone trying to measure out 1.5 cups of whole milk between 110 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit.
You got to be quick, Pine Leaf. You got to
be quick. Really precise there.
Some of the other recipes in this book are the Bitopian shepherd's bread, iron rations, savory hand pies, hogs in bedrolls. There is going to be a drink called the Chultan Zombie as well. So exciting stuff. This book is coming later this year. Comes in November as well. Once again, that is called the Heroes Feast, the official D&D cookbook. And as I said, look for a review of this coming soon. They weren't sure when they were actually going to get the physical copy out, but I do have a PDF of it. I need to actually look through some more, but I'm actually going to be trying some of these recipes for the review, so we'll see. Cocktails included, of course. I mean, it's me, cocktails, of course.
And apparently there has been some speculation, which is being not confirmed at all by Restoration Games, that Heroquest will be reimagined by them. Though, if I remember correctly, the last time someone tried to reimagine Heroquest, it didn't come out very well.
Well, there was a lawsuit involved. We'll talk about that in a minute.
What, in the one I was talking about, or in this one?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we're talking about two different things.
But... I was talking about one that was put out by, I think, Wizards of the Coast that was using stuff from Magic the Gathering.
Oh, no. I don't know if I remember that one.
Oh, you didn't remember that one? Yeah, that was their... Yeah, it was essentially Heroquest in the world of Magic the Gathering, and
No, I don't remember that.
It did not have the same quality of components as the original Heroquest, and hence it bombed, as far as I know.
Gotcha. But yeah, as I prefaced in the post I put up on the site, normally on DDO Players, the site, and here on the podcast, we don't ever talk about anything that is just rumors, but this is Heroquest. We have to talk about this because it's Heroquest, man. Restoration Games filed a trademark for a board game called Heroquest Legacies. In the trademark that they filed was going to cover a wide range of things like tabletop, hobby, battle games in the nature of battle, war, and skirmish games. So going from that trademark filing, one would assume they are looking at the possibility of bringing Heroquest back. As everybody should be familiar with Restoration Games, they take an old game, they update it, and they bring it back out. They've done it with several games. They just recently had a Kickstarter that blew Kickstarter up for Return to Dark Tower. So is Heroquest the next one? We don't know. I did reach out to Restoration Games, and I finally did get an answer back from them, and it's just what I thought it was going to be. Justin Jacobs, the president of Restoration Games, said, quote, "There's nothing to report. It's purely speculative and preliminary, and it isn't indicative of any game we'll actually be doing. Merely, it's something we'd be interested in doing down the road. Unfortunately, it's a public process, so when folks notice it, it gets more attention than it warrants. You'll note some other trademark applications under our name that we secured long before this one, and we haven't done those either." So yeah. The whole Heroquest IP is kind of a weird situation anyway.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Heroquest, of course, if you're not familiar with Heroquest, which I'm very sad if you're not familiar with Heroquest, but Heroquest was originally a collaboration between Games Workshop and Milton Bradley. It came out in 1989. It had 3 expansions. I think two or three expansions. There was also an advanced Heroquest. For some unknown reason, Games Workshop let the Heroquest trademark lapse. And when that lapsed, Greg Stafford, who of course everybody knows founded Chaosium Incorporated, picked up the trademark on it. So the trademark is actually owned by Chaosium, sort of, kind of. More on that in a minute. Chaosium was using it for a RPG system they have called Heroquest. So that's why if you want to make a Heroquest game, you can't, because there is a game trademark on Heroquest. Even if you're going to make a board game, you can't because it's trademarked. It's a weird trademark thing. Stafford unfortunately passed away in 2018. All of his IPs that he owned were picked up by a company called Moon Design Publications. They also own the RuneQuest trademark as well. So they own the IP now. There has been a lot of people that have been wanting a new updated Heroquest forever. Back in 2013, there was a company called Game Zone that actually started a Kickstarter for Heroquest 25th Anniversary Edition. This company is based out of Spain. They proposed the campaign on Kickstarter. It was up for about 3 days, and then it got shot down and closed by Moon Design Publications, who owns the trademarks. The problem is this is still a court battle. This court battle is still going on because Game Zone claims they have the rights to the name Heroquest in Spain.
Right.
And they claimed they weren't going to release it outside of Spain, but there is a website, one of their websites now you can go on, you can pre-order this game and you can get it shipped to the United States. That's neither here nor there. It's never going to get made. But anyway, so all this is going on. So does this mean maybe Restoration Games and Moon Design Publications struck up some deal? We don't know. As I said, we didn't get anything from them. Justin Jacobs said this is just speculation. They're just putting their feelers out to see if this could happen. I know I talked to Justin at Gen Con, I think 3 years ago now maybe, and he said Heroquest was Dark Tower and Heroquest were the two biggest games everybody asked them to do and are the games they want to do. So if they can figure out the whole trademark issue, maybe we could see a new Heroquest. But the other important thing too about this is the name of the game is Heroquest Legacies. So does that mean it's going to be a legacy style game?
Well,
which would make complete sense because who is the chief restoration officer for Restoration Games, you might ask? Well, that is none other than Rob Daviau, who, of course, is the one that invented the legacy game. So if anybody's going to do a legacy game, it's going to be him, and he's going to do it right. So we'll see what happens. As I said, this could be nothing. This could be just a hint of what's to come. Stay tuned, I guess. If they do this on Kickstarter, which I'm assuming Restoration Games would, it's going to be bigger than what the Return to Dark's Tower is because everybody loves Heroquest. So it's going to be crazy, but this might not even happen either. Like I said, it's the whole trademark thing is very, very murky. But if anybody could pull it off, it would be Restoration Games. Because if you don't know, Justin Jacobs is actually a trademark lawyer.
Now, one of that game I told you about earlier is from 2015, and the game avoided the trademark because it's called Magic the Gathering: Arena of the Planeswalkers.
Oh, yes. I have all 3 versions of that.
Oh, yeah, all 3 versions of it.
It's like a really crappy game, but the miniatures are amazing in it. The game itself sucks ass. It's really horrible.
A bad version of
Heroes. But now that you say that, it is kind of Heroquest-ish. You are right. I never put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, that was the first thing all the reviewers were saying. They were trying to compare it to Heroquest.
It kind of is now that you say that, but a horrible game though. Horrible game.
And Board Game Geek puts it listed as it re-implements Heroquest is how they list it.
Okay.
So
I never put 2 and 2 together, but you're right. It does. You're totally right.
All right. Then let's enter our weekend gaming. And Drac, what were you up to? It looks like you've actually done something.
I did. I actually played DDO.
Woo!
Like, it was kind of sad, too, because when I logged in, I seen how long it's been since I last logged in. And I about wanted to cry.
Oops.
But that's neither here nor there. I played over on Argo with Saba and Patrick, coincidentally.
Ooh.
Because he may or may not have called me out on his show.
Oh?
Which, I'm just saying.
Lightly.
Like he was very polite about it, but he did.
He was polite about calling you out.
He did. So yes, but yeah, we actually played. We did Giant Hold. Did like the first part of Giant Hold. Did all the quest on Epic Hard. So that was Return to Madstone Creator, Return to the Cabal for 1, Feast and Famine, Battle to Discord, Maze of Madness, and Trial by Fire. And Patrick actually thought that he was going to get me to go into that quest that I won't even mention that's out in Giant Hold.
Ooh, he did.
I mean, that's one way of interpreting it.
He said, "Are we going to do?" Nope, we are not. I'm sorry, I hate that quest. I hate that quest so bad. But exciting. I actually played DDO, and you and I are actually going to play tomorrow night. So we haven't played forever either. So my crazy schedule that I have is actually allowing for game playing now, which is amazing. Imagine that. I'm actually playing games and talking about it on the podcast. Oh my God. Did play some PC games as well. Played more of Jessica, which I can actually talk about now. I kind of sort of talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but at the time it was under embargo, so I couldn't really talk about it. But now I can tell you exactly what the game is. It is a full motion video game. After the death of a young woman, it's ruled a suicide by the police. Her father is not convinced that she committed suicide. And she hires you to investigate and uncover the truth. You are the player that's doing this. You work for a company that goes in after people die, and they go through all of their digital footprints. So you're a hacker, basically. And you get all of the stuff for the family, like the family asks you to get stuff for them, like if they have websites or whatever, and they're all locked with passwords or whatever, the family says, this is what I know about it. So you start out in the game with all you know is you have an IP address and you have her username and her password. And then you log in. So when you're playing the game, you're actually looking at a laptop. So you're using your laptops. You're going to dive into her online life. You start out where you get access to a couple of her files. And then as you go through and you hack your way through, you unlock more. And then you get videos. And then you watch these videos. And then you're going to piece together what exactly happened to her. And then that's where I'm at. I'm not very far into it. I think I know where the story's going to go. And wow, if I'm right, it's going to get very, very dark really quick. So we'll see. So look for a review of this coming soonish. I need to play it some more. I kind of want to finish it. Most people that I've seen talk about the game say it takes between 3 and 5 hours to finish. So it's kind of a shorter game. So we'll see, but that is called Jessica, and it's Jessika is how Jessica is spelled. Go ahead.
That's it. Sounds very, very modern for a mystery story.
Yeah, and it's made by a small indie developer out of Germany. So all of the actors and everything are German, but they're speaking in English. Sort of, kind of. Sometimes it's very broken English, so it's hard. Yeah, there's a couple points where I had to turn subtitles on because I'm like, what are they trying to say? Because you can tell it's the acting so far is really good, but you can tell English not their first language. So I'm glad they have a subtitle button. Because once I hit the subtitle button, I was like, oh, gotcha. And then if you do speak German, you can play in a total German version too. That's an option you have. Which that would be interesting, I think. But yeah, that's Jessica. And that is available now over on Steam if you want to check that out. And then the only other thing I did was I played some more Guild Wars 2. Still playing through the main story. I'm like way, way behind. I'm like 4 storylines behind or whatever at this point. So yeah, I'm way in the very beginning storyline. So I'm doing the Heart of Fire. Is that the name of it? I think. God, I can't even remember what the name of the storyline was.
Heart of Fire. I thought that was a DDO adventure that's coming out next month.
Maybe I don't know. It's something fire.
Oh, no, that's the Heart of Flame. That's the one that's coming.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's Heart of Fire. Like I said, it's been so long since I played Guild Wars 2. I don't even remember what questline I'm on, but going through that, and I'm doing that with my Norn Ranger. I want to break my Necromancer out again too. I haven't played my Necro in forever, but that is basically what I did. So I actually played some games.
Then on my week, well, first I asked Patrick, did you do anything?
Played with Drac. Did some D&D night on DDO stream.
Oh, I forgot about D&D night. Yes, we had the Out of the Abyss, whatever episode we're on.
Yeah, I don't know what episode we're on off the top of my head, but it was the schizophrenic DM episode of. We got to where we were going, and you know how the DM is like, hey, you should. You're really intended to go this way, and half the party is kind of like, nah, we really want to. And it's like,
yeah.
So we finally relented.
Poor Beaker.
And go there, right? And then 2 rounds into combat, he throws this thing in, and that tells us run away. We're like, well, you just told us you weren't supposed to go here. Did you make up your mind?
Do you want us to stay or do you want us to fight? What do you want us
Hey,
to do?
what are we supposed to do here? I'm confused.
What the heck, man? Yeah. Oh,
So
Beaker.
I gave him a little. I gave him a little grief about that.
Yeah, we did.
But other than that, no, just played some DDO and carrying on, I guess. And I don't think I played anything else this week other than DDO. But I don't think we want to go into a whole laundry list of what I did in DDO because we might be here for a long time.
All right, you
I'm
did
sure.
lots in DDO then.
I did mention that the coronavirus pandemic has done wonders for my playtime.
I
It's
guess
done
it
lousy
must
for about everything else, but my playtime is doing really well.
have. Oh well. All right, then I'll go into my week. Then I'll begin with my Human Alchemist, where I was continuing on with my little series there, where I ran Dead Predators, out then Caged Trolls, then Purge the Heretics. Now, Purge the Heretics, that was one when I thought 10 seconds about that quest. I decided not to record that quest because I needed the XP, but there was just absolutely no way I would call that a Pine Leaf quest. I mean, what is it about the Sovereign Host versus the Flame that has them at each other's throats?
Well, they do have a history, Pineley.
Apparently so. I mean,
Wait, we said we weren't going to talk about politics. I mean, this is something that goes back so far, no one remembers what the deal is.
All right. Yes. I think I've had hints in the past about this, but I think this is the first time it really hit me exactly how much those two are at each other's throats. It wasn't until now where I finally realized just to the level of this.
Oh, yeah, they're like complete, total polar opposites.
Yes, I know. And neither of them is an evil religion as far as I know, right?
No, they're not.
But they're just, then we have kind of a big deal where I ran through there and going again. Then I ran memory lapse. Now I've done memory lapse on a few points, and every previous time I've done it, I enjoyed that quest. This is the first time I did it. The first time I did it where it looks like the first room I went into was what is normally my last room. So I don't know how I got turned around and wound up going in the opposite direction than usual. I mean, did they change the order of the rooms or something since the last time I did this or something? I don't know what it is. But I went to this one with the one with the book that moves up and down and all that stuff. And I was being ripped to pieces. Absolutely nothing in it is. I can only think that it's an ill-suited quest for the alchemist or something like this because I just could not really get anything done in that one. And eventually I was just ripped completely to pieces. And I just said, all right, I am out of here. That was completely unfun the way that entire run was going. So it's either not compatible with the alchemist or they've changed the quest in such a way that it tweaked it into an Pine Leaf unfriendly way. I'm not too sure which one it is. Either that or I'm just hitting a level right now where the alchemist is, well, my suboptimal building style is starting to catch up with me. I guess that's always another possibility. Then I ran a halfling rogue through the keep on the Borderlands. And as I was in Caged Beast, I discovered to actually use a feat that I don't think I ever bothered using before, even if I happen to have the feat on the character because of how my build width was or anything like this. But I've never thought of using this option, even if I had somehow taken it in the past, the feat in the past, and that was defensive fighting. And in fact, that's pretty much what kept me alive through this entire thing is I was really successful in staying alive all throughout this thing. I mean, I even went through Violent Delights without too much of a scratch. So I would say that was a pretty nice little run through all of Keep of the Borderlands with my Halfling Rogue. Then I decided, let's see how long it's been since I've been on Wayfinder. And I found that the last time I was on Wayfinder was 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And that was back when I was playing all those Warlocks.
Oh, yeah.
So I had 6 characters on there, 3 of them level 7, possibly that was for some sort of challenge that required me to go into
I think it's when
Veterans Toast.
you were doing the whole temple thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been during the temple thing.
Yeah.
So I had 3 sevens, a 6, a 5, and a 1, 4 of which were warlocks,
Wow.
and including an orc, a dwarf, an elf, and a gnome. And I'm looking through some of there and says, all right, what do I want to do with these characters? If some of them I'd say, there's no way in the world I'm going to play that character again. Though perhaps maybe I should, if I do get rid of some of them, I should deposit the bind on account stuff into the shared vault before getting rid of the character in that case. But I'm definitely keeping the gnome though. So therefore that we have six characters on there. And that's the one where I went in and checked that level 1 character is when I decided to go, okay, let's see if even the level 1 character is getting it. And yep, I was getting all that stuff. And then in Minecraft, I did some runs of Mage Rage where I was doing the August map 2 and 3, and this month they're giving us these really weird maps. So the second map was in a cave map. In other words, the whole thing is underground inside of permanent caves, which means everything is dark in there. And oh boy, if there's a unpine leaf map that exists, that was it right there. So that was a little bit crazy. And then the third map, I go through there after that whole thing with the floating islands 2 weeks ago, and then last week with all those caves. I come out into this world and I say, all right, what's weird about this world? In the end, I think they had large biomes on, but because I run the Minecraft Hardcore Challenge, which is almost always done in large biomes, I never considered large biomes to be a weird world. So I actually didn't have too much trouble with that one. I also built a golf game, or actually it was an archery range where you start on one, but I did it in a similar way to golf where you start out at a location, you shoot at the target. When you finally hit the target and turn on the light that goes with it, then you go on top of that target area and then you find the next one, you go down like that. So it's sort of an archery type of golf course that I created out of that. And I think that's one of the more successful attempts I had in doing something like that. And the Minecraft Parkour Challenge, I survived the challenge, which is the good news, and I got the house built, but I didn't get any mobs to populate into the house. So I did not get the family inside of there. Then in other video games, I played an updated beta of the Black Book Prologue, and I did that because they decided that they were going to revise how the spell book operates. I looked in there. It seems to be working along pretty well so far. Now, it'd be nice when they actually get into early access with the full game, or at least beta for the full game, so I could see how the full game operates, because I'm really anxious to see that one. And then in tabletop, I played some Eon's End. In fact, I played a great deal of that. And I was actually this was a complete tabletop because I was playing this using the app really on there, and I was playing Rageborn with various different mage combinations to see if I could beat Rageborn with all of the mages that come in with Eon's End. So I've managed to play with GN, Kadir, Lash, Malastar. Then I decided, well, if Lash fails and Malastar's fails, let's see if I could combine Lash and Malastar and have them work together. And that I actually finally succeeded in that one. So I'm getting a little bit on to there. Then I played some one deck dungeon. And the first attempt at this, it was the fastest game of one deck dungeon I ever had. I got in there and it was like whack, whack, dead. I said, all right, I'll try take 2. I was trying to take a druid into the dragon's cave to see what I can do in there. And in this case, I managed to get all the way to the end. I got all the way to the boss. And I did not have very good rolls here, but I did manage to wrangle my skills fairly well and somehow squeezed out getting that dragon dead in the end, despite not having very good rolls or a very good set of dice in there. So I think I'm starting to improve a little bit in one deck dungeon there. And right around this time, I received a little package, which was the delivery of Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, the latest Tiny Epic game. And I tried out a play against the scientist opponent because they have names for the 4 potential solo opponents they have. So instead of being a difficulty rating that they have on there as they have in Tiny Epic Galaxies, instead, what we have here is how they like to concentrate. In other words, the scientist has his concentration on research and the like. And I lost that 64 to 65. So far, I'm about meh on this game, but I have to play it a few more times to see how I feel about that for the long term. Then I played some Burgle Bros, which is a game where you're trying to go into an area and try to do some burglary in there. And there I lost on the second floor, and I had a really, really, really brutal map layout. That's probably the best way to describing that. I get into there at the very beginning. I pop in right next to the vault at the very beginning. I said, well, that's great, right? Well, now, of course, I had to find the combination, and all of the alarms were such a way that if you could think of the worst path to put in all the alarms, they were there. So it wasn't too long before, yes, I think I was lucky to get off the first floor. That's what I got to say about that particular one. Now, I should say that many of the things that I were playing in the last few days were because of the latest SoloCon. You know how I am with SoloCons in there. And in this SoloCon, it was about animals. So for one deck dungeon, I was playing the Druid because the Druid had an animal companion.
Makes sense. Okay.
Burgle Bros, I was playing the burglar called the Raven because she has a crow companion. After that, I played Gloomhaven Jaws the Lion, and I played Scenario 21, which I happened to unlock during my last playthrough I had. So I just had unlocked this dungeon, and it so happens that this dungeon features some snakes in it. So I decided, all right, that'll be my animal for that one. So I played Gloomhaven Jaws the Lion. After that, I played Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle because Harry, Hermione, and many of the mages had these animal companions with them. And I decided to play Harry, Hermione, and Neville. This is the first time I played 3 different characters. Usually I only play 2. And the reason why I did that is because in this particular SoloCon, they encourage you to play games that have at least 3 different types of animals in them. And Harry has his owl, Hermione has her cat, and Neville has his toad, which is why I didn't play Ronald, because Ronald has, his owl. So because he has his owl, because he has another owl that wouldn't count as 3 different animals because it's 3 different types of animals. So I played those 2, and it was a hard-fought battle all the way through. I was playing game 5 because I consider that to be the sweet spot in there. And the villains were very brutal. They had a very, very brutal beginning, but I managed to eventually weather through that. And it came down to one last turn where I defeated Voldemort on the same turn where I gained the last enemy control token. And I had no way of getting rid of it. So if the turn ended in that state, the game would be over and I would have lost. So that one came down to the wire, by far the closest game I ever had of Hogwarts Battle. And then finally, I've played Castle Ravenloft, The Search for Strahd Part 1. So I took my usual combination of my Cleric and the Ranger, and it looks like that's a pretty poor combination to go for that particular adventure, because about halfway through the dungeon, you run into a random boss that's Strahd's bodyguard, and the random guard in this case turned out to be the zombie dragon.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's what I gotta say. That's fun. So I I managed to kill the zombie dragon
Oh, nice.
on the turn after Alicia went down, and that was the third time I had a character go down. But of course, I don't lose the game until it's Alicia's turn again, and I see that I have no token. So I had one more little turn there. So I downed that zombie dragon. But of course, to win, I still had to face Strahd. So I did lose it, but I had the, I guess you say, the moral victory of at least killing that dragon before I lost the game.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's pretty epic, I guess. You killed the dragon at least.
Yes. Now, I did check the next tile right after I finished it, and the next tile I had was the one that was going to be triggering Strahd. So, but I had been taking on encounters for the last few turns because I did not feel like I wanted to face the zombie dragon and Strahd at the same time. Because
Oh, God, no.
no. So therefore, I was avoiding doing any exploration. But of course, that means more encounters. Not that I wasn't constantly drawing black triangles anyway. So I was getting those encounters even when I drew things down. So that was quite a battle that we had into there. So that was Search for Strahd Part 1. So that was my first time running that one. That means I have only one more scenario that I have never played. And that, of course, is the Search for Strahd Part 2. So we'll have to see how that goes when I finally have an opportunity to play that one, because I'm sure that Strahd is going to be real nasty. But what I discovered while playing these two and fighting that dragon is, well, first of all, Thorgrim, my cleric, has Draculated dice. And that's all I can say in there. The number of times he missed is staggering. I think he might have even missed more rolls than he made. All these 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s that I was getting all the way through there. I remember one time I had my ranger decided to spend the luck stone because, I'm sorry, you rolled a 4 and you missed it. All right, I'll give you another chance. Throw away the luck stone. Roll the die, 2.
Oh, jeez.
The other problem is that my ranger had no real DPS skills because the ranger, 1 point of damage, 1 point of damage. No, we did have split the tree, but that's a once. That's a daily. So that didn't, of course, didn't help too much in the long term in there. I had no good DPS against the dragon because we had the cleric who was missing until the last 2 or 3 turns, was constantly missing. And then we had Elisa who couldn't do more than 1 point at a time. And her best bet was to stand next to the opponent and just slap the automatic 1 pointer in there so I wouldn't have to worry about rolling the dice because I know how cursed the dice have been during the run through. So that was the problem that I had there. So I had to hope better luck next time, and maybe I could happily report that I successfully completed Search for Strahd 2. Don't bet money on it.
We'll see.
We'll have to see. I'll have to take someone who could actually do damage. Well, Strahd actually has fewer hit points than the dragon does, but Strahd has healing by doing a bite sometimes. So yeah, Strahd's not going to be easy to take down because those 12 hit points are probably going to turn into 20 effectively based on the bite. Or at least that's the way I think I understand how Strahd operates. Oh, that's right. You might face Strahd more than once that way because what can happen is that you could face Strahd, you might defeat Strahd, but if you defeat Strahd, he turns into mist, and the only way to complete defeat him is to defeat him when you're at Strahd's crypt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so there's always that possibility. So yeah, I'm not betting great money on me being able to take him down, but I will give it a go. But that'll probably be in another month or something like that. And that is my week. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. And if you'd like to just donate without using Patreon, please go to Drac at email, drac at ddoplayers.com. And apparently there's a patron-only giveaway coming soon?
Yes, soon.
Ooh.
I'll give a hint. It's D&D tabletop, actual D&D focused. That's all I'll say.
All right, so it relates to tabletop D&D.
If you play tabletop D&D, this is something you will love to have.
Ooh. We will find what that is out soon, trademark.
Indeed.
If you like to email us, you can send it to podcast at ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Dracula at Dracula_72, and Pineleaf at Pineleaf Needles. And you could follow Drac on Twitch at Dracula_72. And you can find our guest on Twitter at DDOcast, at Twitch on DDOcast, and you can also go to ddocast.com. The Players Alliance has 3 shows on Mondays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Locha Players News. And if you want to know when XP Quest goes live, you could follow at XP Quest on Twitter. But please note that XP Quest is not Pineleaf friendly. You can subscribe to our shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to socialize responsibly.